Andrew Forrest is a regular in the rich list of Australian business people. He owns and runs Fortescue Metals Group, a mining company in Western Australia, exporting iron ore and competing with multinational companies including Rio Tinto and BHP. In 2009, Andrew was named Australian Social Entrepreneur of the Year. When awarded with this title, Andrew insisted he and his wife Nicola be jointly recognised. Together, Andrew and Nicola run the Australian Children's Trust. Nicola is also a director of the Women and Infants Research Foundation, a community-based organisation, and a director of Sculptures by the Sea, bringing international art to Sydney and Perth every year. Nicola and Andrew are the driving force behind 50,000 Jobs and Generation 1. I caught up with Nicola in Sydney. What is the Australian Children's Trust?
The Children's Trust was set up by Andrew and myself about 8 years ago, and it really grew from an idea that we'd always had and discussed, that we wanted to help other people that weren't as fortunate as ourselves. And obviously children became the focus, and we set aside money and set this trust up to offer people the opportunity to apply for grants for needy circumstances.
Tell me about some of the programs that the Australian Children's Trust is involved in.
It has evolved over the years, and I guess when we first started, we were very aware of seed funding and supporting groups that possibly hadn't got money before, and by someone coming in and saying they'd support them, it would enable them to raise money to finish their project. And some of those examples of those were Writing for the Disabled. We helped fund an undercover arena, speech and hearing, cochlear implants, and we also funded quite a lot of research in the early days, including for drug addicts. Mm-hmm. We're now much more involved in community development programs, and one community that we've gone into to try and help support has been Fitzroy Crossing in the Kimberley area. Several Aboriginal women leaders in that community over 2 years ago managed to get an alcohol moratorium. We actually went up to Fitzroy Crossing with the local member who knew these women, and we actually went there to say, how can we help you? The women said, we are strong and we did get this alcohol moratorium, but we want our men back. And the men need something that they can do to empower them and give them back their sense of pride. So we've set up a men's shed in response to community consultation. So it's about a halfway house where they can get training, and they're being trained to take on real jobs.
And you have another ministry that you're getting involved in that is hoping to provide many, many jobs.
50,000 jobs, actually.
50,000's a big number.
It certainly is. And when my husband came up with 50,000, where did that come from?
Yes.
But, hopefully it'll be a lot more. And that's the Australian Employment Covenant.
Yes.
And the word covenant, actually it does come from the Bible, is the strongest form of commitment that you could make. And the covenant is a tripartite agreement between Aboriginal people, Australian employers and the Australian government. And it's about real jobs for people and providing opportunities so that in Australia there's an opportunity for people to be trained for specific jobs rather than just being trained for training's sake.
Nicola, what is Generation 1?
Generation 1 is this online space where people can share those positive stories and empower someone in remote Australia or even in the middle of Sydney to say, actually, I could make a difference. I could do something, from mentoring an Aboriginal person into a job, or helping keep them at school, or fostering a sports club after school, or employing someone.
Can you share with us where your faith fits into all of this that you're involved in?
I guess where you say it's tied in is it's faith in works. So it's doing things for other people. And I suppose that's where you can say, well, that is their faith, because it's about sharing something that we've got. You know, with the Children's Trust, we often try and support Christian-based activities because that is what is real and that is what gives life to people. And certainly you see that in other people's programs where it's driven from a faith base. You can see that there's real heart and that it does have hope. And hope is what makes change.
Yes.
And that's faith, isn't
it? Absolutely. If you were to give just a a word of encouragement to people who are watching this program, what would it be, do you think?
It would be that every little bit counts, and we all have something within us that we can give, and that it is definitely not money. I think particularly when you look at the Indigenous space, billions of dollars have been spent trying to reduce the disparity between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people in Australia, and it hasn't made a difference. It's about heart and it's about being real. So, you know, everyone knows if you're genuine, we've all got a gift that we can give.
That is absolutely fantastic, Nicola. Thank you ever so much for giving me your time.